Superman star Nicholas Hoult has broken his silence on losing the lead role in The Batman to Robert Pattinson. There's Josh Wilding, also with the comic book movie. Now, it's no secret that X-Men Days of Future Past star Nicholas Hoult made it down to the final two for The Batman, only to ultimately lose the role of Bruce Wayne to Robert Pattinson. Now, don't feel too sorry for him, though, as it wasn't long until the British actor landed a lead role in Superman and the wider DCU, we'd imagine, as Lex Luthor. Talking to Josh Horowitz, Hoult reflected on missing out on playing the Caped Crusader and admitted it wasn't easy to come that close to a dream role, only to miss out at the very last minute. Yeah, of course, it was an emotional blow because your imagination doesn't know. You're aware on a practical level. You're like, I know that I'm auditioning against Rob, and Rob's fantastic in that movie. I think that was the right decision, but also you get excited about the prospect. That's a fantastic director. The script was everything. I was like, this is going to be a cool movie. I want to be a part of it and a brilliant character. He adds, so then there's obviously a weird period before you can get to the acceptance and see the movie and be like, oh yeah, that works. That was the right choice. You have to go through the period of like, what could I have done differently? You run through all those things, obviously. The juror number 2 star would go on to say that as well as the emotional toll of losing out on the role, the fact that the process was made so public presented another challenge altogether. Then there was another small matter of Pattinson becoming the clear favorite before he had even auditioned. Most people today don't care about that stuff, but it feels weird, and then because you're like, oh, and it's one thing to have your failures, it's another thing to have them publicly broadcast seemingly to everyone. That's an element of drama to it, I suppose, Holt acknowledges. I remember a week before we did the Batman test, I was driving in my car and I had the radio on and there was like, they were talking on the radio about how Rob was going to be the new Batman. And I was like, well, it's not confirmed yet. I was like, I'm auditioning next weekend. Like, give me a chance. The rest of the interview, Holt also talks about the moment he realized he'd be a better fit for Luthor than Superman, why Lex Luthor, Man of Steel, is the comic that's been most useful to him, and why he didn't hesitate to join Gunn's DCU after missing out on the Batman. Please be sure to check out Josh Horowitz' Happy, Sad, Confused podcast where you can see the entire interview. Okay, can I relate to this? Jesus Christ. So, story time. Some people know this, some people don't. Right at the end of 2020, I was auditioning for the lead of a show on Nickelodeon. And I did my first audition. I didn't hear anything for like 5-6 weeks, something like that. I just didn't think about it because I was just like, you do auditions all day, especially the big ones. Like, you never really hear stuff. So I just assumed we were moving on. Then I get a call back, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then we go from the callback to the director, producer callback, to now all of a sudden I'm getting a call from my agent that we're negotiating contracts. And we're in our final stages, which is essentially executive testing, which is similar to, you'll see screen testing, same kind of concept, but in this case for a TV show, they don't necessarily go full test like that. And during the pandemic, it was just, most of this was all done digitally. You would go in once you actually book something. Cause I did shoot like Superstore. I shot like an election special thing at the time, a lot of stuff that was going on then. So I just remember being like, okay, cool. I got this last test. It is what it is. Unfortunately for me, I got a call from my agent saying that the studio execs didn't have time to do the thing, so they're just going to look at our last tape. And what made me sad about that is I knew that my ace in the hole was being able to schmooze people. That like, yes, I'm good at acting, but I had a mentor tell me one day, at a certain point, unless you're like Denzel, you're not really out acting anybody. Everybody's kind of in the same level, the same playing field, et cetera, et cetera. The same way you'd see in like the NBA or the NFL or anything like that, right? But at a certain point, it is about who do people want to work with? Can you show that you're professional? What creative elements are you bringing to the team? All that stuff. So me not being able to kind of talk to those studio execs bummed me out because I felt like that was the key for me to get the job. And unfortunately, they went with another person. So it really broke me for a while. It took time for me to mentally get out of that funk and to not tell myself that I sucked or anything else like that because, again, on that scale and things like that, to see in the trades the person that got it, like it was just a lot where I was just like, oh my God, man, this is rough. So I can relate to Holt and up to an extent. I can't relate in the sense that you're talking about one of the most iconic characters, period, in pop culture in Bruce Wayne / Batman on what was ultimately one of the biggest movies of that year, things like that. I can't relate to that extent, but I can knowing the idea of you're so close on that thing and feeling like you got stuff working against you only for it to not work out. But I think what I love about his story is the fact that while that didn't work out here, the right thing came up for him not soon long after. And that's the thing that I think is important, is the perseverance to just push. If it's something that you want and you want badly, you work hard and you keep going, and eventually you get there. Shouts out to Nicholas Hoult, man, for persevering. I'm very excited to see what he does with Lex Luthor. I actually think he's better for Lex Luthor than both Batman and Superman. Not that he wouldn't have killed either one of them, but I just think that there is something in particular. I can see that evil grimace in his face, man. I think that's going to be great, and it'll be nice to see him, as Beast. He had some vicious moments here and there, but for the most part, he seemed a little bit more innocent. Same thing in like Renfield. It'll be cool to see him like go there. But all that being said, tell me what you think. Let me know down in the comments.